Hi everyone, LazyFire here, welcome back to Battlefield 4. You'll notice I'm alone right now. I can't really suggest anyone actually experience what I'm about to go through. It is the prison level of Battlefield 4. Now, the prison level of Battlefield 4 is particularly terrible on a couple of different fronts. One, thematically, it's kind of bad. But two, it rips off Call of Duty Black Ops, like, in a lot of ways. And this video is actually comprised of both Battlefield 4 clips and Call of Duty Black Ops clips, and just showing the similarities and where Call of Duty actually went better on a lot of things than this game did. And I can't really blame them. Call of Duty's escape from the Gulag mission was actually pretty amazing if you want to think about it, you know, thematically and everything like that. It really put the game at this high note early on, because it was just such a good introduction to the game, even if you'd already done one mission. But we're, what, 4 or 5 missions? We're 5 missions in, and this thing is wrapping up. I kid you not, we're wrapping up in this game. By the way, the guy in the suit here, that's Admiral Chang, the guy who we're supposed to be worried about so much, who's chasing us and all this. He's just hanging out here in this prison. The guy who's torturing us, you notice he has a name in the subtitles? Yeah, he never shows up again in the rest of the game, I kid you not. Why they gave him a name at that point, I don't know. But we're about to run into the person who really sets off all of my Vietnam War flashbacks, Dima. Now, if you didn't play Battlefield 3 single player or didn't watch my Let's Play of it, which I cannot blame you for because that game was kind of terrible in and of itself, Dima was the player character for the Russian side of things in the single-player campaign. You get to control him twice and met him once as your American player. He told you to kill your squad leader, and you did such a thing, and that allowed you to save New York from getting nuked. But Dima went to Paris to try to stop a nuke, and instead got caught up in the blast. When we last saw him, he was at his house writing his memoirs, talking about how he may die in 5 days or 5 years. By the way, this is 5 years after the Battlefield 3 game, and set 5 years after. Oh, hey, here's our first big comparison. Yeah, we're in a prison cell with our friend from the previous game, and he's offering us a shank. Can you take a guess at what we used in Call of Duty Black Ops to escape from a prison? If you guess the shank, you're correct. Now, the thing is, they could have given you a lot of stuff, or they could have made you kill people with your hands. Instead, they gave you a knife. And here we go, Dima's gonna show off his freakish fucking strength here. Just pulling shit out of the wall, and, like, clipping objects into his bed. This level has some pretty fucking great physics to it. Oh, and, so he trusts us now, just like Reznov did. Anyways, the big thing I found with the comparison here with Dima is that he was a really fun character to play as in Battlefield 3. He did all this Krav Maga stuff, and it was smaller arms, it was tighter corridors. It was basically a Call of Duty game. It was basically Black Ops when you played as Dima. And it was so much better than the rest of the Battlefield 3 single player that it was startling that it would make you do anything else but play as Dima. And here he is again. We don't get to play as him, but he's a little worse for the wear from the last time we saw him. Clearly not doing too great with those facial scars. And he's letting us get out of prison. Now, I mentioned this in the other commentary track I did for this, which is also up, where I don't talk over the cutscenes. But Dima had no clue what was behind there. Meanwhile, Reznov actually had a goddamn plan on how to escape. Dima kind of does too. It's just not really good. It apparently is to use his retard strength to break through a wall, and then go and release a bunch of prisoners from a facility that's somewhere in the prison, but he doesn't know where he is, so he cannot figure out exactly where he's going. Now, my guess is that we're actually all in this cell block together, and that's how he knows where it is. That makes some sense. I don't understand how he knew there would be climbable pipes and racks out here for him to jump across and all this other shit. I want to know also how that giant tube is able to hold up the strength of 2 adult males, while the pipe that Dima broke out of his wall couldn't resist the force of a man weakened by radiation poisoning. And I'll accept Chinese construction as an answer on this one, I guess, because we're definitely not in Russia. Which begs the question, who arrested Dima at the end of Battlefield 3 when he got the knock on the door and he was cocking his gun? My guess is probably Russia. However, he ended up in a Chinese political prisoner prison. That didn't work out. Anyways, so Dima gives us a, okay, be quiet, we're going to go do this thing, but that only lasts about 12 seconds. And I mentioned this in the other video commentary as well, but I almost went and pulled Splinter Cell Double Agent video for this as well, just because this is almost like sentence for sentence what happens in that game. You go through a wall to get out of prison, you start a riot, and then escape. That's what we do here. Now, we still have other considerations. We know Irish is in this prison, and we know that Pac is somewhere. He didn't appear in the interrogation scenes, but he's got to be around. And we also know Hannah's here. Now, I want to point this out, and this is going to come up in the next video, but I feel like it has to be mentioned. The Chinese general and other military leadership positions must be, they must be really afraid of confrontation, because Hannah betrayed them to go to us, but it turns out that she's betraying us and went back to them, and they know that she snuck somebody important out of Shanghai. Oh, hey, here's a shank. Yes, the shanking in that game is much better. I like taking tags, but it's way, way better when you can do a quick stab and not worry about it. Especially for single-player campaign. I don't understand why we're doing this in single-player. Anyways, my point stands. Like, someone should have detained Hannah, yet you'll see that no one is stopping her from moving about freely in the next video. Spoilers for the shitty story in this game. Also, you'll notice that these guys are not really smart. I just stabbed that man in front of that other man. I think the AI in this area of the level is actually told not to see you unless you're in direct light, which is kind of weird. Even the flashlights on their guns don't seem to provide the kind of light they are expecting here. So, you can just go around and shank people to your heart's content. Now, watch this. Let's duck. Look at these two. Whoop. Like I said, weird physics things abound in this level. I try to go up these stairs from the side. I don't know why I did that. It doesn't work in any other Battlefield game. And yet, this guy sees me. Now, I want you to watch the area around me. I'm not getting shot right now, and there's no one where I was sighted from. Very concerning. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to run up here. If we can just get to the control room, activate the switches, no one can hurt us while we're activating those switches, and then get out of this room, we're fine. We're scot-free. This game has really, really bad area awareness, so it's not even worth your time to kill everyone in this room. It's just get up here, activate the switches. If you activate the switches without causing an alarm, that will still trigger more guards to show up. So, not really a point in not doing it. And just like in any prison movie that you've ever seen, paper starts flowing freely from the ceilings literally the moment the cells are opened. Now, I don't know why I stabbed this guy. I think it was because he had a straight shot on me as I ran back here. But, yeah, turn that corner and you're basically home free. Now we get to go see Irish. This is another dumb thing. Irish is just basically letting this guy beat him the fuck up while yelling about Pac. You cannot help Irish. You can't do it. I've tried. Yep. Now we can actually pick up a gun. I should have mentioned this before, but you cannot pick up a gun until this point in the level. It's literally impossible for you to do so. the game won't let you do it. Why they decided on that one, I don't know. Maybe to enforce the stealth section. Not entirely sure. But the way Black Ops did it, and I should have put some video in of this, but the way they did it was pretty good. It was just they did not give the enemies guns until they wanted you to have a gun. Everyone we've killed so far has had a gun, so we could have just picked that up, theoretically, but Wrecker apparently needs instructions to do so from, you know, flashing lights on things. So that must suck for him. Now the J52 here is a PDW submachine gun kind of thing. Not a bad weapon overall. I kind of like it. However, there's a shotgun here. Shotguns are not uncommon video game weapons, but you're escaping a prison, going down narrow corridors using a shotgun. This sounds... Oh yeah, that's right. They give you a shotgun like as your second weapon in Black Ops prison level. That's interesting. That was the second... Strange. Now right here, this is kind of the issue. I'm stuck in this corner. Now I should have mentioned this before. I don't have a lean button. You're seeing me lean, but I don't hit a button or anything to do that. The game actually auto-leans for you if you get to the edge of an object and aim. And wait for it. And yeah. That guy had a light. I still don't understand how he snuck up on me. But that was one of the easier sections of this entire level. If you know what you're doing, you're okay. The room where I had to activate the switches back there, that took me 3 or 4 attempts, even on this playthrough. And worth noting about this playthrough is that I actually had to combine video from 2 different videos, actually, to get this. I mentioned this in the other commentary. I should mention it here. There are cutscenes in this game that do not play unless you are just going through the last mission and into the next mission. And conversely, there are cutscenes that will only play correctly sometimes if you load up. So the part where Irish was getting shocked and everything like that, that's what we always get, the whole Wrecker thing. But the stuff before that, where they're, you know, interrogating us personally, that all came from a different video. Yeah, this is why Gats ended up with some video that was actually from the previous video as well, is because this, I have to be very careful about it because the game does not really enforce any rules about this. And right here, Dima tells us that he's just going to let these guys go sacrifice themselves so we can survive a bit longer. I think Reznov actually said it a lot better when he said something.
Reznov, your men must know this is suicide.
Victory cannot be achieved without sacrifice, Mason. We Russians know this better than anyone.
Why couldn't they do this? Why couldn't they? If Call of Duty can do that 4 years ago, you can do that in 2013, my mistake. Just, that's really sad that they couldn't pull that off. Anyways, we're almost done here. I cut this actually really short. Initially, we were going to get to kind of a checkpoint and then quit the video. But I decided to keep the lion's share of the Call of Duty references in this video, make a couple in the next one that someone else will have to watch with me, and let that be a little bit longer because there's some stuff that I left in. It's not thrilling, but it's kind of indicative of the game as a whole, and I wanted to keep it in there for that reason alone. And the next video would actually been a little too short if I made this one long, and I figured I'm doing this on my own, might as well just have this happen. We're almost done, so don't worry, your suffering is almost over. The weapon I picked up here, this PDW, is the PP2000. Not really great for this distance. A little later in this area, it's a great weapon, but right now, not so much. You can see I'm almost out of ammo for it already. But yes, we're basically done here. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time in Battlefield 4.